My God, my fingers. Just going to get water. You ain't going to believe this. I don't know if you can see. Whoops, I'm going to lose my eye on that. I don't know if you can make out the frost level there. Just short of us again. And then, look, just round by the fence line there. Muller stops at the fence line. Right? So it's all a big circle around us where there's no frost. Out there, look, more or less to the base of our hill. Look, even down here, a bit of frost. Oh, sorry, you're choking. But look at it, the frost stops. Basically, just down here. Well, that sounds good, Stella. And even round there, no frost where we are. So we got a frost-free camp. So that means Stella, it means it hasn't been as cold for us as it would have been anywhere else. So I went to get water, right on the edge there where we wanted to pitch the first time and then the second time. And it just covered in frost in between the trees. Frost all, so we would have been absolutely frozen. Great view, but we've been frozen every night. So they say something happens, everything happens for a reason. So them first two failed camps because I pitched it in breezy, too breezy conditions. And I moved up here. Wow, just by luck that is. I'd like to say I knew the frost wouldn't reach us. I can't say that. But unbelievable. Out there, the rivers are frozen. So it was cold last night. It was a good -3, -4 last night. And that water's receded really down. It's dropped a hell of a lot because the mountain snow is not freezing, not melting now. It's staying frozen. Right, my fingers are frozen. I've got to cut wood to warm my hands up. And that's a good way to warm your hands up. Dogs will be okay. Fire's on, but I'm just leaving it to burn out now. Right, 10:50. We're setting off. We're going to do some photography around the loch. And that way, weather looks nice. I don't think it's too cold. You watch, I'll probably say, get off. She's trying to get to my camera. I'm going to tell her off in a minute. 6. Eve. Monsters. As soon as I bow down, she'll try and sniff my camera and I don't want to put her on the nose of my lens. Right, I'll turn you off so I can sort these out. But we're heading up towards the loch. I'm going to do some photography and just enjoy the day. Beautiful weather, nice bright sunshine. Great for camera. See how frosty it is here? As I was saying earlier, it was absolutely white. The river's all frozen. Or stream, should I say. The side of the river was earlier. Oh, look. I mean, the sun's probably reached that area now, but it was white like this all the way around. And we would have camped there. So thank God we didn't. We were frozen during the night. I mean, got a lovely fire and all the gear, but why put yourself in a colder situation than you need to, eh? But look, it was all iced up. Probably getting milder now. Go away. She's sniffing, she's interested in my camera because I'm super easy. Dogs. Can't kill them. But yeah, all this was white this morning. So if we'd pitched here, we've not just had a windier. Oh, where's Stella? You know, she takes the longest route. She goes, look at us here, watch. I'm not stepping over that tree. I'll walk around it when I can be bothered. Looks like she's been in the water, to be honest. I'll kill her if she has. Shaking like she has. Look. Yeah, I'll come when I want. She's molting around the neck again. Unbelievable. Oh, is that it? Is that today's work done? Go on, you. We'll get you in the sun, you'll warm up. Where we were at camp, If I'm having a fire all day, fair enough, she'll be warm. But otherwise, in the shade, she'll just freeze. Even with a blanket on, she'll feel the cold. So what we're doing is we're doing some photography and staying in the sun as much as possible. See some hikers. Typical, isn't it? I come out and there's hikers. Hey, you. Alright, put you away, get the camera set up. Take some shots around here of the bridge and all that. Just doing a bit of photography. Absolutely stunning area, especially with the snow on the tops. Beautiful and different colours. The sun's gone now, so I took some photos earlier on, but I don't want it when it's shady. I want some nice bright sunlight. Met 3 guys. One of them I'd already bumped into in the past near Clashcore Hut. They're stopping at the hut. They're saying it's getting ever so busy now. Sadly, it's getting too busy. But that's one of the things. It's such a good little hut. But apart from that, I ain't seen anyone else except the cows. Tripod's working brilliant. This is oh god, I've got to find the name of it. A newer, that's it. A newer LT32, I believe it is. Carbon tripod. Doesn't weigh that much. Really nice to work. There it is. There's the details. I was right. Brilliant to work with. Absolutely stunning. Around here. Oh dear. Don't I love it? On our way back to base, it's clouded right over. I was going to push up further, but not with this cloud because it's useless now for camera. Unless you want some murky shots. I wanted some glorious sunshine shots. Got some beautiful shots, I must admit. Ah, great fun. I did some bit with a mini tripod with the phone camera with the dogs. Oh, must have took me about 50 shots to get one decent one. But it's good fun trying. They're enjoying themselves. I'd call them, get them to sit, then we'd pose for the photo, looking out at the mountains. Then as soon as that camera had gone, the shutter had gone, I'd break the dogs and they'd go racing off. And then we do that again and again and again, trying to get a decent photo. As I said, I've searched all this, so you know, nothing to gain to go over and over and over and over. It's, as I say, this camp was to test kit and see what works, what don't. And so far, everything works. The only thing I'm disappointed with is that stove chimney roll thing. The roll chimney thing. I don't know what it's, aluminium or something. I don't know what it is, tin foil. That's what it looks like. Something you'd roast the chicken in. But apart from that, everything else has worked. This is a new tripod. I've been trying the new tripod. Works brilliant. Love it. Camera I've had for ages, and I just not used it because I've been so busy doing other things when I come out. But this is what I want to do now. Stella's old. If I do come out and help out in any searches with the dogs, we can do it in bursts, you know what I mean? So one day do search, one day do a rest, you know what I mean? Counts if the person's obviously recently gone missing, there's possibility of him or her being alive, then we'll do as much as we can. But if it's over a long period of time, then the urgency isn't there, is there? But yeah, taking things easy for Stella, and she's enjoyed what I was photographing. See, she could rest all the time. These two were running all over the place. So they were happy. And I was getting my photos done. But look, that's possible snow, you know. With these cold temperatures and The cloud coming down a bit low and looking a bit gloomy. Could be some snow. Snow showers, nothing big. It's cold enough. You know, when I was out with the sun, when the sun was out, it was nice. It was fresh, but it was nice. But now the sun's gone, you can feel that chill. The temperature last night, when I said, well, it's not too bad tonight, it was -1, feeling like -4. I didn't think it was that cold, but because I've been in that hot tent cooking, obviously I didn't realise how bad it was out. And that really does prove that the morning was cold with the ice and all that, because all the streams and all that are frozen out and the ground was covered in frost. Right, back to base. That's the track that leads up to that Corbett. If anyone ever wants to come in and do it, they go through the gate there and up. But we're going down. You don't fancy any Corbett's, do you, Stella? Monroe's? No? Sure? She's happy though. Happy dog. Look, I'm not telling her to go over there. She wants her to go and explore a lot. There they go. Back at base. Cooking off the old pocket rocket. Got let's have a look. Something to eat. I've never had this one before. Vegetable chipotle chili with rice. Probably pronounced that totally wrong. Got it on cheapies, so I thought I'll try that. As you can see, I've been cutting a load of firewood. I'm not putting the stove on yet because I've still got some errands to do. The dogs have come out and all we're doing is wasting the heat. Once we settle down, but I fed dogs, once we settle down about 3ish and just do the odd little thing, because it gets dark, as I say, at 5. Well, it starts getting dark at 5. Then I can get the fire going and it'll be established by 5, and then it's the evening, listen to some music again. I enjoyed that last night. As I say, it got real gloomy outside. Breeze, a bit breeze picked up. Luckily it's coming from an easterly, so, well, northeast, yeah, easterly side, and just behind us, and it's blowing straight along us, so we're hardly noticing it. But again, out in the open out there, you can feel it. So, good spot. Can't say enough about how good this spot is. So I've got plenty of firewood and I've got plenty of logs to cut up. Oh, I was going to do pancakes one day, wasn't I? What day is it today? Sunday. I'll see how much rations for the dogs. I'll keep playing it by ear, you know what I mean? I've got, I always carry 2 24-hour MREs, British Army MREs, which I've never touched, and I've never tried, and they've been crushed and pushed and squeezed, so God knows what they're like, but as long as they work. And the good thing about them, you can eat them cold, even though, you know, it might taste the best, you could eat them cold in an emergency. So I always carry them, so I've got plenty of food, so, and I've got chocolate biscuits, so chocolate biscuits for breakfast and MREs, and they in the MREs they have some breakfast anyway, so God knows what it is. I don't know. I've never opened them, so I don't know what's in them. They changed from my day. Everything used to be tins, and we always used to fight over. There was a tin about the same size as this, but thinner, and inside that it had a Cadbury's chocolate bar and loads of all sweets, all squished in together. How they packed it in. And you used to have this little silly square tin opener that the British Army gave you, but it worked brilliant. It was on the size of about your finger thumb, yeah, top end of your thumb. And we used to cut them open and stuff our pockets full of these chocolate bars, because it was all surplus them days, so I don't put anything surplus now in the British Army, sadly. But there was all surplus 24-hour packs, so we used to squabble over who got them. And the only way you knew, there was stamped kind of codes on top of the tins, and it would be like something like sweets or shocking sweets, something like that, you know, something really abbreviated. The other things we used to have, some packets. We used to have apple flakes. I think there was oatmeal. The dog biscuits. We used to have these dog biscuits in green cellophane packs, vacuum packed, and they were so hard and so solid looking. It looked like just like dog biscuits the way they just way they look. But I enjoyed it. I liked them. They kept me going. Stew and dumplings. I think there was spaghetti bolognese. There should be a load. I'm trying to remember. Steak kidney. I'm sure there was a steak kidney food or something like that. That was in the tin and you just chopped it up. What we used to do is all in ones. We used to get one pot between the squad. We'd just throw everything in. So it would be a right mixture. And I know it sounds awful, but I tell you what, when you've been in the field for hours and hours in the rain and in the mud and carrying heavy packs, you'd eat anything they give you. And someone would brew it up and get it going while someone else would be setting up our ponchos. We used to have low poncho shelters and all that them days. And maybe someone would be cleaning weapons. You know, we'd kind of work between ourselves as a team. But, and then someone would say, right, food's ready. And they'd just scoop this dollop of mess into square mess tins. And, I mean, I know times when we'd put apple flakes in with the stew and porridge in with, sausage and beans was another one that was in the tin and we all used to love. But the sausages always taste a bit twangy. But memories, that was a long time ago, as I say. Things have changed since then. I've seen the packs. I've got one, but I haven't opened one. So I can't wait to see what they do look like. But I only use them in emergency. Open this board. This is that board. Right, I'm going to have my dinner. More chatting later. Sorry. Can't have dinner yet. I've got to wait for it. Got to give it 7-8 minutes. So I've got coffee brewing. So I've got to kind of waste 7 minutes for a new lot. So, where was I? Oh, about the meals, ration meals, wasn't I? Yeah, and how the British Army's changed. Oh dear. There were them days when I was in, it was the 70s, late 70s. I joined up. And joined my regiment, about 77. And we were in Denmark, more or less within weeks. I was 17. I'd done a year's training from 16 to 17, but that was like a boy soldier, they class it as. But I was 17, I went to Denmark, and the British Army then was British Army of the Rhine, and they used to move a lot of armour, and the British Army of the Rhine had something like 77,000 troops just in Germany. That's the British Army in Germany. That's not the RAF, that's not any naval attachments or anything like that. It was just British Army. And now I don't think we've got 50, I think we've got 55, and I think they're reducing it 52 or near 50. Unbelievable. We had armoured regiments. I couldn't speak a word of German when I was out in Germany, and getting a taxi, you'd try and give them details and they'd take you to the wrong base and it'd be an armoured regiment's base and say, no, not this one. Then he'd tell me somewhere else, it'd be an RAF regiment. No. But the fares were always cheap, and we were so high on the booze, the German booze, we didn't care where they took us. But we used to have tank regiments and all that, and you see the armour on the roads, and we used to call the armoured personnel carriers 432s, that's the abbreviation. I think they'll class as FV 432s. But what you see the troops all get into the back of was a trap vehicle. And as I say, when we were in Denmark, everything was helicopters, just like you see on the Vietnam films. It was unbelievable. But we had Pumas, Wessex, I think Gazelle had come in, Chinook, and we took a whole town once. Like, we were like the blue forces and we were fighting the orange forces, and there was all kinds of people with us. There was Germans, there was American forces with us, there was, you name it, all the NATO units. Never seen anything like it. It was like being in an actual war film. There was that much armour. And we'd have the Harriers, Buccaneers, Jaguars. These are the aircraft that used to fly over us and they'll come in on attacks on us. And you should have seen them, how low they'd come in. They're not supposed to drop lower than 200 feet, but I swear some of these were lower. Unbelievable. But they were the glory days. Unbelievable. 17, I used to, you'd be in a forest something, all kind of cammed up, tactical netting and everything. And I remember this officer came to me and he says, oh, you're marshalling some helicopters. I was like, huh? And I got a crash course how to marshal in helicopters. And I was in this clearing and I was bringing in helicopters. And you put your hands up and you wave them up into you, then you hold your hands how to hover and so on and so on. And you've got a rifle in your hand at the time, but so they see this. They all know what's happening. But you're 17 and you're bringing in this helicopter, maybe carrying troops, maybe carrying equipment. You're doing this like all afternoon. 10 minutes ago you didn't know how to do what a helicopter really was, and the next minute you're bringing them in and landing them and letting them clear. You know, there's signals to let them know when the pilots they can't see all around them, you know what I mean, so you're letting them know it's clear around them and all that, and then they take off and then you've got another one coming in with troops or whatever. Unbelievable. And I was 17 and they were the kind of things they give you, the jobs they give you. They don't say, oh, he's too young or anything. They just put you in the spot and get you to do it. Anyway, that wasted 7 minutes. And now I can have a coffee and my dinner. See you later. Well, being bored as I was, I took down my chimney pipe, where you like stovepipe, roll mat, whatever it is, kitchen foil, and re-rolled it. I think it looks a bit better. Very messy job, but full of gunk from, you know, the resin from the pine, which is awful to burn, isn't it? But you got no choice. You only got what you got, and you retied it up. Does it look better? It was looking a bit sorry for itself. It was. I don't know if it needs more rings or it just gets better after rolling it, because it seems to kind of just pop out, doesn't it? And I rolled it on something pretty far up there. It's popped out, you see. We'll soon find out when I light the stove later and it starts blowing smoke inside. Last night, that's what I was doing. There was a bit popped near the vent here. See if I can tighten one of these. Yeah, I've only got 9 rings. I don't know if you get more. Stove's brilliant. Can't complain about the stove. Just don't like that stupid thing. But it beats carrying pipes, doesn't it? Because they're bulk. So I've got to get some more water. It's nearly 3 o'clock. Time's flown. Weather's tried to brighten up, but it's been really overcast. I might come back and cut some more wood just because it keeps me going. But very quiet. Good. Sunday. That's what you want. Everyone's going home now. So get the drone out tomorrow, hopefully, after the weather's nice. I brought it, so I want to use it. So, yeah, let's get some more water and then cut some more firewood. Stella can stay in there. We go for water. Stella wants to come. That's what they're lying on. It's a Rubens roll mat. It's about half an inch thick, nearly. Foam, reflective on one side. Don't know how good it is, but they don't seem to be complaining about. And then their beds, but their bed's a bit damp because they jumped in water. So I always let them get one side wet, and then later on in the evening I flip it over to the other side, so they're not lying on anything damp and get cold overnight. If I turn it now and they get both sides wet, then I've got nothing to give them later. But Stella wants to come, it looks like, after a rest. Oh, I didn't tell you, they're all sprawled out now. I was going to get ready to do my lunch, and I'm leaning over and I trod on her paw. She jumped up and bit me under the arm, didn't I, for that? It wasn't her fault, it wasn't my fault, it's just there was legs, arms and everything everywhere. It was just one of them things. I didn't mean it, did I, Stella? But you didn't have to bite me to let me know. Right, let's go and get some water. So I've been cutting wood. Anyway, look what I've just seen. Pink ribbon. Don't know if you can see up there, pink ribbon. And there's some down on that fence down there. Don't know if you'll be able to see them. So why are people tying pink ribbons to the fences? Look, don't know if you can see them. Yeah, you might get to see them there. On the posts. Was it something to do with search patterns when they're searching? Is it something to do with the estate? I don't know. Or was it someone doing orienteering, you know, where they hide caches and they put tracks and people have to run tracks and find these hidden caches? I don't know. But it seems weird. Put pink ribbons on a fence. But hey, happens at times, doesn't it? These strange things. Rebel! Rebel! I don't know what he's looking for skeletons. Hey! Not the ones we want him to find, the actual deer kind. Rebel! Leave. Track site. Leave it alone. You don't find anything good, just the bad things. I'll sell you. You're a reject. You, useless. Cruel, ain't I? Right, let's chop some wood. Right, be getting a fire on in a minute. Thought I'd do a quick assessment on the kit. So far, the tarp, tent, stroke, whatever it is, penumbra, one wind penumbra, tarp, hot tent, whatever you like to call it, as I say, is doing wonders. I was thinking, well, I was out, which is rare for me, but I'd love to put a continuous ridgeline inside it, you know what I mean? I think that would add the structure much better and use the process just on the end, not the one in the middle. But the only negative to that is I've only got a little hole to get a ridgeline in. I could do it, but I'd have to thread it through, which would be a pain in the bum, wouldn't it? And I don't know how it'll wear. Tarp post going over the top. I could easily put some reinforced like gorilla tape over the top. I won't do it, but I could easily do that if it came to worse. But it would make the structure more straight. But I don't know if that matters. But anyway, that's the only positive improvement I could do. A hammock, I said, kept dropping, and I was like, why is it dropping? But this side was shimmying down the tree, so I had the carabiner over here, so I've just shifted it into the middle. See if that makes any difference to kind of hold it snug. It's shifted down onto the continuous ridgeline there, where it's tied off. I don't know why. It could be the angle of the way the ground is or whatever. But that was a simple fix, just shimmy it up. I'm tying it up. Excuse me, it's cold and dusty. Been cutting wood. Guide lines are held brilliantly. Oh, remember I was moaning about this door. I had this door elastic. Hold on. Sorry, excuse me, doing this. But I had it like that and I thought, how useless that is. I didn't see that one down. So I put it again, excuse me. If I can get it on. Oops. Now I've got lost it. You'll have to excuse me. It's not, as I said, you're not going to get professional videos from me. But look at that. That makes a difference, doesn't it? And you could do it to the other side as well when there's no wind. Brilliant. as I say, top poles really make a nice difference. Bulk it out. I like that. Size inside's brilliant, but even for three of myself and my three dogs, we're still falling over each other. That's because the hammock's in the way. As I say, straps have been brilliant. Carabiners done the job. Beetle buckles are solid. They definitely haven't slid down, because for me to get them to release was I was struggling like a good one, because they're made so they don't slip. That stupid foil stovepipe, yeah, not the best things, are they? But light, but inside it's really grubby. My tripod I used today, really impressed with. This jacket, I've lived in this jacket, I tell you. I've got another one that I thought if it gets really cold, I can just put that over the top and, you know, double up. But I haven't had to. I've got a waterproofing I haven't had to put over the top. I've got, I use the synthetic down at night when I'm pottering around. But this thing, wow. At the moment, I can just feel the cold on my back. But once you start moving, you warm up and you don't feel the cold at all. I don't know what it'd be like if it got wet, you know what I mean? Because it's a brushed outer. But I love it. I just like the way it fits. And as I was saying, I was worried about the back end being shimmying up. It doesn't. It covers down just to the base of your back, just the top of your bottom, I would say. You know what I mean? It's just right. It's made just right. And the pockets are brilliant. And the pockets where I can put my hand in, oh, so nice. They warm your hands up, lovely. So, really impressed with that. But again, it's a bit expensive, and you know, unless you can find them in the UK, you have to import them. I was lucky. The two quilts, the under quilt on the hammock, the Orchy, 0 degree. Oh, so toasty. Can't say nothing about that. It's just pure bliss. The diamond back top quilt for -6, brilliant. And I didn't feel the cold. The only time I've made any mistakes is when the Wookiee came up so far, if you get what I mean, and I put my diamond back and I left a little gap, and that was my fault. I didn't tuck the diamond back down the side. I've been using the synthetic jacket as a pillow and just shivering it at the back of my head. It's also protected my head from any drafts around the back end. So I didn't even have to pull my hoodie up over me the last couple of nights, because I had the synthetic jacket behind my head. So that was good. The Blackbird XLC hammock, cozy. When you go in there at night, the difference is, you know, when you're getting a sleeping bag, when you're tenting, say you're up side of a mountain, or even somewhere like down here, you know what I mean? When you get in your sleeping bag, you try and cocoon yourself, but you know, you're squishing and falling on a mat. You know, some of them make a squeaking sound, some of them you tend to slide off, others don't seem to be warm enough. And getting out of a sleeping bag, if you have to, like with the dogs, if you've got a mummy one, it's a job and a half getting out. If it's a zip one, tell me how many zip sleeping bags are any good. They're awful, some of the zips on the sleeping bags, even the really top end sleeping bags. I've had so many snags and all that. It's just driven me around the twist. I tried quilts on sleeping mats and they work to a certain extent, but you know what it's like. You turn over during the night and you leave your back slightly uncovered and you wake up about an hour later with a freezing back. It just happens, even with all the clips and all that. You get in your hammock, and I hate to say it, it's like a coffin in a way. It encased you, you know what I mean? And I haven't, the top end, you know, being netting, I haven't found any issue in these cold temperatures. And I know it's not extreme cold, but it's been still, I would say, -3 out there at night. Luckily, we've been sheltered where we are here, but it's still been cold. My face didn't feel it. It soon warmed up, but it seemed like once my body had warmed up, my face started warming up. You know what I mean? It's like having cold feet. And once you warm them feet up, you feel much better, your whole self. Just psychological, I think. But yeah, hammock. And I've found a way to lie in the hammock. There is a way to lie there and turn if you want to go do some side sleeping as such, because that was my big bugbear. Because if you lie just on your back, you soon stiffen up, especially as you get older. Your joints start stiffening up. So I learned to kind of shimmy onto my side and then kind of pull my knees up into like a fetal position, not right up hunched up to your stomach, but just hunch them up a bit. And I've managed to sleep that. That's again asymmetrical, you know, at an angle, as the hammock is meant to lie. And I did that both sides, and it seemed to work. Don't ask me how, but it seemed to work, and I felt much better last night. And once you're in there, you don't want to get out. You know what I mean? Even in the morning, you're like, oh, do I have to get out of this? It's going to be so cold out. Getting in and out for the dogs so far has been really quick and efficient. Like last night, I know Rogue was up for some stupid reason. I let her out. She didn't want to go out. She was just moving about, restless. So I managed to get out, deal with her, get back in the hammock, and be snug within about 5 minutes. Now, that sounds a long time, but when you're doing it in a tent, you let a dog out, dog comes in, you normally get your arms wet because of condensation opening the sides, you know what I mean? This hardly gets any condensation for some reason. I don't know why. And then you've got to shimmy back in your mummy bag. You can never guarantee she ain't going to move again, you know what I mean? And then you're back out and it's, you're getting frustrated. But with the hammock, it seems to be a straight sit in, swing your legs and you're in, you know what I mean? Job done. So, brilliant. Little chair I'm sitting on, the Robins fold away chair. Lovely chair, but for my hips, it's not wide enough. So I'm finding I'm squished in it, you know what I mean? But I spent hours in it, so I can't really complain because it's done its job. So no problems there. It's meant to be lightweight, it's meant to be foldable, it's meant to be just, you know, I'm using it like because it's winter nights, I'm using it like maybe 4 or 5 hours sometimes at the most, you know what I mean? Stove's been brilliant, as I say, just the pipe. I've had no problems with the stove. Haven't seen any warping or anything, but again, it's how you use them. If you start to turn it into an incinerator, of course metal's going to warp, you know what I mean? I try and control the heat so it doesn't get too hot, so to the point where, you know what I mean, everything's glowing red, which I did do in the T304 stainless steel Highlander, because that was solid metal and you could basically turn it into a furnace. But the problem is, if you do that, you're going to burn through wood. Talking about wood, can you see how much I've got in there? Got enough. I probably could last 3 days with that one, but it's better to be in front, isn't it? Both at that Boreal 21, Agawa Boreal 21 saw, absolutely worth every penny. It's cutting through thick logs that I'm cutting down there. I don't know if you can see down there. Where is it? There it is. Cutting through them, no problem. The Friskers axe I've used before, and that's brilliant. As long as you keep it sharp, it's a cracking axe. Is that it? I think that is it. Everything I brought out I've used so far. Haven't eaten as much food as I thought I would, but that's always the same. It's better to bring too much than too little. So, you know, you can choose what you eat at the end. Dog food I haven't counted, so I don't know how much I've got. The row mat for the dogs is much easier. When I used to use the 2 separate like roughwear mats, and you use like a windscreen foil mat, you know what you use on car windscreens as a reflector, they were good. The windscreen reflector, if it got wet, would get ruined, and their mats were too small, so they would slide, and then one dog would be on it and one dog wouldn't. You get what I mean? So you didn't know which dog was getting the insulation. As long as these spread out like they are pretty well now, they're all on it, to be honest, and that's good because my beds are covering where the mat is. And the good thing about that is, if we had an emergency stop at a buffet, say we're out on a search anywhere, Cairngorms, anywhere, and I always make sure I know where the nearest buffets are, just in case any emergencies. Whether tent's nasty, we have to make a break for a buffet. Doesn't matter if there's 100 people in there. If it's emergency, we'll get in there. I can set the hammock, and a lot of these buffets, believe it or not, I've got solid beams. I mean, they take force God knows what winds. So you can literally hang a hammock up. So if there's no sleeping space for me, I can actually hang a hammock above everyone with the straps. And I can use the mat for the dogs in the bothy if it's a cold floor. So, you know what I mean? It's like, you got to think of the probabilities. I mean, if I found an old derelict building, as long as it was sheltered, I could probably find some beams to hang my hammock, and again use the falling mat for the dogs. Instead of if you're tenting, I've only got a mat, and it's normally grubby in some of these places. If you're getting a bothy, all the spaces might be used. You know what I mean? So, and with dogs, you have to be careful. I can grab whatever I can get. You know what I mean? But the top thing, I mean, I won't be using this shelter except for winter time, but in the more milder months, I'll be using even a lighter tarp with these poles and a continuous ridge line. But it's so light, and with the hammock and all that, it's so versatile. I can, we can move. I can stash gear and go searching or whatever we're doing, come back to the gear, you know what I mean? Because it's all going to be camouflage tarp and everything. So that's why I've done it, to kind of hide out the way and not be in everyone's faces, you know what I mean? Because it just draws attention. People just like to say hello and be friendly, but sometimes you get the people you don't want coming to your camp. I normally find the local people, the estate people, they just want to know who's around. It's their job to, isn't it? But they don't cause any problems. I've never had any problems with any of them. So, but that's my gear roundup. So if anyone's watched this and has gone, God, I don't know what his channel's about and all this, but I've seen some of the gear and might be interested in getting some of the gear. All the gear I'd recommend is just, as I say, it's very frustrating, that stovepipe, but everything else has worked brilliant. So no complaints. Oh, and a Garmin, again, going back to this Garmin, because I have been very critical at times of Garmin products, because I think that some of them are just junk. But this, the size of it, the weight is nothing. Honest, it probably weighs the same as a packet of fags if you've ever had a pack of fags in your hand. You know what I mean? It's nothing. It's worked brilliantly, and it's been running continuously, and it's still got 83% on it. Don't know if you can see. You know what I mean? No problems. Got date, time, everything. I've just done another weather. I've done 2 today weather updates. I'm checking it. I'm just testing it, see if it's working. I expected to work here because the other one did, but we'll see how it goes. But I love the size. You don't even know you got it in the pocket. And what a great SOS device to have in your pocket that you don't have to worry about. You know what I mean? It's more or less destructible. It's waterproof. Again, I'm not trying to sell this for Garmin. I mean, I've had my bugs about Garmin products, you know what I mean? But it works lovely with my Garmin watch, which I've never complained about. You know what I mean? And I know people will butt in and say, yeah, but my iPhone gets messaging now, SOS, and they're bringing it in Android. It's so true. Very, very true. But the thing is, they're doing the SOS feature. They're not doing your messages to your friends, or they're not doing weather updates. They might in the future, many years to come, but for the first 2 years, they're just doing the SOS. Now, you know how brittle your iPhone is. You know how brittle your Android is. And I know you've seen videos where people have dunked them in water and dropped them down floors and all this. But how many of you had a broken phone in the past? If you go out with just your iPhone or your Android device out in these areas, and for some stupid reason it slips out of your hand, you drop it. That's not just your mapping, if you're using it for mapping. That's not just your photos. That's actually your SOS device. It's a very risky thing to do. You know what I mean? Just to rely on one device, because it's light, it's easy, and it's convenient. But again, you won't be able to message your friends, and you won't be able to get weather updates at the moment. I mean, it might change in years to come. And trust me, Android and iPhone are doing it for free for the first 2 years because they're using Starlink or whatever. But the thing is, after them 2 years, you can guarantee they'll be charging. And Garmin seem to be noticing that this is coming, and they're altering their prices, you know what I mean? So in the end, you're going to get competition. I know which one I'd feel safer as long as it works, and that is the Garmin, you know what I mean? It's nice to have the phone as a backup, you know, to be walking around and say, well, I've got 2 devices. That's brilliant. I mean, somewhere like here, you can walk out, even if you probably really badly sprained leg, you'll get out. If you crawl on your hands and knees, you'll get out. But if you're pushed in like 10 miles in, or you're Monroeing or something like that, and the weather turns and you're stuck on a slope, or I take a terrible fall, and when you fall, you smash your phone, or it falls out your hand, or drops out your pack, then you're stuck. You're literally stuck, and you'll be one of these missing people, unless you're very lucky and someone comes across you. But with a Garmin device, and like I say, with my watch, I can activate the Garmin device through my watch, and I can actually do it through the phone as well. But again, I wouldn't rely on my phone to activate an SOS. I've got the SOS feature on this Android phone because I moved from iPhone, and because I knew Android are doing it, and I thought I'll give theirs a go, because I prefer Android system than iPhone. I think it's becoming dated, iPhone, but that's another issue. But at the end of the day, if I went out with just this Android as my SOS feature, I wouldn't be very happy at all. It's a great thing to have. I think the SOS feature comes in handy if you're not so much remote, semi-remote, I would say. Then, yeah, you can trust because you probably could wave someone down or shout to someone that's passing by or something like that in a semi-remote place. But pushing out into these mountains, Munros, or into these valleys, or into these wilderness areas, just with an iPhone Android, I don't think it's a good idea. Anyway, that was an update on the gear. That's my opinions. You know, you might differ. I'm sure some of you will. And some of you will take the chance with an iPhone and an Android. Good on you. You know what I mean? I'm not criticising you. So everyone just, it's a free democratic world as such, in some places anyway. And you have choice. You choose, you make the choice. Right. Gonna get this fire going. Just lying in my hammock, resting. I thought to myself, why am I sitting in a chair when I got a hammock? The only reason it put me off is because it gets very hot up here with the fire on. But I'm not getting too comfy, otherwise I'll doze off and the fire will go out and I'll be back to square one. Hence I've got my feet just straight, and not as you're supposed to lie. Get all this, chunk it. But I've got no pillow or anything like that to make myself too comfy, but I can just listen to music in a bit. Keep stoking the fire. I'm saving electric as well because I've got no lights on. Things are charging. I can just lie listening to the wind. And then, as I say, put some music on, listen to some music. Feed dogs. Do whatever jobs we have to do. So we're down for the night. I've had a lazy night. So I got changed just before it got dark because, again, it's a pain in the backside changing in the dark. Even with the light, you know what I mean? But the main reason I got this hammock, it's not for this. You're being lazy, which is nice. When I do, sometimes I do 10 and 12 hour shifts. It feels like shifts. Drives to locations from where we live, you know, in Scotland. It's about 500, 600 miles sometimes. And it don't have to take a toll on your body. You know, you do it 1, 2, 3, maybe 10 times, yeah. But after 15, 20 times, it really starts becoming a chore. So when you get a camp in the past, I'd have a tent, and it normally, you know, it's typical Scotland, very rare the weather's good. If it's not misty and damp, it's drizzling. If it's not drizzling, the showers. If it's not showers, it's snowing. If it's not snowing, it's very wet and damp out, even without any rain. And you've been trudging through marsh and bog and slush, you know what I mean? Crossing rivers. And the dogs get wet, as you've seen. And if I set up my mat, you know, sleeping mat and my sleeping bag too early and the dogs are wet, they shake when they get in the tent. Everything on mine gets wet and then I'm in a right situation. And I've said this before, you know, that's my main fear with down. I love down, but because it's light, it's warm, and it's normally top end products, you know. Excuse me, getting tired from lying, you see. It's dangerous. But so I never set up, you know, my system, and yet the dogs come in after the long drive, get in the tent, and then they go to sleep for about 4 hours, and they're having a lovely time, and then they're fresh as daisies and wanting to do things. And sometimes I go for hours, you know what I mean, before I get any sleep. I mean, counting the drive and setting up camp, maybe hiking in maybe 10 miles before Stella was old. This is, I'd be on the go like 36, 40 hours. So with a hammock, you see, I can set my system up. Now once I get used to setting the system up, then I can set the system up. Dogs will doze off and I can have like a couple hours. It's only a couple hours you need, you know what I mean? It sets you up for the rest of the trip. So that's why it'll come in handy, because it's out of reach of the dogs. Even if they shake, it's got an under protector, you know, protecting the underquilt. And if they shake, it won't reach up here. And even if it reaches the very top ends, it's not going to be much. And I can tuck my down in here and everything I need all in here. So, and I might even get a top cover. Who knows? I haven't decided yet on that. And I can zip everything enclosed so the dogs can do whatever they like when they come in there. And I'm not so panicky. But yeah, I was sitting in the chair. I realised the problem in the chair is not so much it's not wide enough. It's because it's short. I'm hunched up, and my, you know, instead of having your legs like that and your knees like that, you know what I mean? I'm like that, tucked with my knees like that, and my hips are feeling it because it's so low down. But again, it's a camping chair. You're not supposed to sit hours in it. You're supposed to use it for doing chores and kind of outside camp for maybe an hour at the most. I've been sitting there like in the evenings when it gets dark for about 4 hours doing things around in the tent, but like charging, cooking, you know, looking through things, just resting. And obviously just sitting in one position is hard on your joints, especially my hips. And then when I was doing other things, I was kneeling, and of course that was doing my knees. So I've been using my mat. I've been learning to use the mat so I don't lie on the cold floor. But see, like the fire's getting low. I'll leave it a little bit longer, and then I'll put some cut pieces in, and then back in my hammock and rest. Job's a good one. So that's my plan now. Why sit in a chair while the dogs are sleeping and resting? And I can be in my hammock. Just don't get the fire too hot, otherwise I'll cook up here because the heat rises. And it's 60 and 70 degrees lower down. It'll be about 80 up here if I get it too hot. And the dogs are covered and they're warm. So, and that gives me less excuse to keep going in and out. What I was doing, I was going in and out of here, the shelter here, just to stretch my legs and just get some fresh air, just to kind of loosen my joints because I'm getting stiff in the chair. Again, the chair's fine. It's just, you're not supposed to sit in that long, you know what I mean? And winter nights, you know what they're like. It's got dark tonight early because of the cloud and the murkiness outside. So I think it'll dark by about 5 tonight. And that means we don't settle down to 10. So between 5 and 10, what are we supposed to do? I've chopped all the wood. I don't particularly want to be out there when it's dark. There's not much to do. I'd like to take some photos of the stars, but I don't know if that'll happen because we've got cloud tonight. So we'll see what happens. But I can sit in here and ponder, you know what I mean? Can I do a continuous ridge line on this tarp all the way through. Will be too hard a job threading it through in windy conditions through that hole at the top. Bypassing the middle one, putting it through the other one, setting out continuous ridge line. I think it could be done. It's technique and how to do it. The reason this one sags a lot is because it's heavy. Against, you know, well, I'm comparing it to standard tarps, you know, which you take out hiking and with hammocks. It's just quite heavy. I didn't realise how heavy it was until I tried hanging it, and then you realise that, especially with a bit of breeze, it becomes like it feels like a wet blanket in a way. You know what I mean? It isn't bad at all. It's just the way it feels. It's because it's so big and long. Whereas the other tarp I've got, it's very fine material, strong. I think it's a sil poly, 30D, something like that. And you wouldn't know. It looks like tissue paper, but it's so light and thin. And again, hanging it would be a breeze, I would guess. But yeah, this is quite. It's like hanging. You remember you had sheets you used to have for beds. It's like hanging, trying to hang one on a washing line when there's a wind blowing. It's a full job. Anyway, yep. The fire's getting low. I'll have to go down in a minute. Because it's only one log burning. You see, technique is don't let it get too low, otherwise you'll be in a situation where it can easily burn out. But the wood is drying out in here now. That's good. Got my other light charging. This one isn't in use, so that's saving power. Got my jackery there. I always bring my jackery when I've got these. This is only the small one. I think it's a 250, something like that. 240, sorry. And it's done me proud. I've had it 3 days and it's still on 78%. And it's cold out and the floor's cold. I've been trying to insulate it and cover it and all that. But obviously the cold will get to any battery, even these big ones. But they're good systems, the jackeries are. That means I've always got power. But obviously I've got a trolley to bring the gear in. Right, I'm going to stoke my fire before it gets too low.